great question, because it evolves all the time. So for the longest time, I have been a coach, and I specialize in helping leaders be better leaders, particularly people who are self-made leaders who have not necessarily had formal training. And about 3 years ago, I got involved with Get Smarter, UCT. And so I train coaching in collaboration with Get Smarter in the university. The evolution is coming in that I have always, at least for the past 10 years, I have always participated in improv, and I've been doing improv training on the ground because it's a rather physical sport. And I have consequently moved improv into the virtual space. And so now I see my work as more facilitation. I'm facilitating confidence in groups, facilitating spontaneity, and facilitating joy in the online space that can be rather bland for some people, demonstrating how we can really juice it up. Primary client or primary provider is myself. So I market myself independently. However, I have partners that I have for a long time sought out, other coaching providers who work in the online space. I've mentioned that I work with UCT Get Smarter, so I consider them a partner. And I work with a number of coaching providers that I call partners. Couple of names I can offer up, Coach Hub in Berlin, Better Up in the USA, Experiential Insights in the USA, and welcome individual clients and welcome any B2B business as it arrives. I've been coaching, I always say the number 17 years, but when I go back and actually look at my coaching certification, I think it's 15 years. But once I qualified as a coach, I immediately exited where I was working and started my coaching practice with that same company. So I've been coaching for a long time. The online piece of that, the desire, the intent was laid in 2010 when I learned of a facilitator in London who had shifted all her work online. And I remember making a big note, I'm going to work online. But it only came into reality really when I arrived in Santiago, which was 7 years ago. And I recognized that in Chile, like in South Africa, like in many countries, there are many, many coaches, well qualified, doing great work. And I had a choice at that time. I could either become a masterful coach in Spanish and work in this market. And I decided to take a different route, which was that I was going to coach in English and I was going to market myself globally. And it's been a good strategy for me. So right now I have, I think many of us do, 100% of my work is coming in globally by the online space. Zoom is without a doubt my favorite. The functionality is awesome. The part that appeals to me as a woman maturing is I can touch up my features on Zoom. What a beautiful, thank you, Zoom. I have not worked on some of the more difficult platforms. I was once involved with a platform called Blue Jeans that was really a cumbersome platform. I've not done work on Microsoft Teams. That seems to be what everybody's frustrated with, but I stick to Zoom. So for example, this week I'll be doing an improv workshop for a group of coaches, one of the networking bodies I'm part of. We usually meet on Google Meets. And when they said, Michelle, can you do this for us? I said, absolutely, but it has to happen in my Zoom room. Within my Zoom room, I have nothing fancy, so I don't have a studio set up because I am a person who is desirous as soon as I can to travel, and I don't want to be lumbered with hardware. So I do have this cute little thing called a Stream Deck, which is my only piece of hardware that I've invested in. And I'm playing around with some software, Ecamm, so that I can do sexy overlays. I'm trying to incorporate that with something called Loopback. It's a minefield because I remember 15 years ago, if I bought a piece of software, I got a manual. Now I buy a piece of software and I'm directed to tutorials. So I have to spend a good deal of time investing in tutorials to jack up my online studio. I am an Apple person, and that's by default. I had a beautiful, probably it was an HP or something, that crashed on me 3 months prior to me wanting to come here to South America. And so I took a decision that I was going to go Mac because I had heard that Mac just works. And I've been, again, that was a really good choice. My Mac is like a beautiful workhorse, and it's a tiny little thing. I just have a MacBook 80, and I open it up and it works. So I'm an Apple fan, and I've got the iPad and I've got my phone, and they all talk to each other. So again, I'm looking for a convenient setup. So Apple works for me. Prior to COVID, the biggest hurdle were the clients. The clients, for example, prior to my arriving in South America, I was on the Nedbank panel of coaches. And a few months into my journey here, somebody contacted me at Nedbank through that panel and said, I'd love you to be my coach. When can you come in and see me? And I explained that I'm working online, and if they're comfortable with that, let's do that. And they went to talk to their HR person, and the deal was finished. It didn't make sense for that client. I think for a long time, people have had it in their minds, particularly the clients, that you've got to be a coach who signs in at the front desk. They've got to see your bum on a chair. That way they're convinced that you're doing your work. Perhaps a lack of trust. How can we trust this foreign person, or this person who's now a foreigner? However, those barriers have dropped. So that's been amazing. I've had to work out some hacks in terms of how do I get foreign people to pay me in different currencies and bring that into the bank account at a comfortable commission rate. And I think I've done pretty well. My eyes are always open. I'm watching what's happening, what new things are arriving that is going to make life for a so-called digital nomad easier. And there are a lot of options for us now. The biggest win for me over the last year has been bringing improv online. And it's a double whammy win for me, because one of the reasons why I work virtually is because I want to work globally. I'm very stimulated by working with people in different cultures and hearing about their place where they live. And so bringing improv online was one step. How can I actually teach something that's usually quite physical online? And what it's allowed me to do is put together improv teams where I have players in India, players in South Africa, players in Chile, players in the US. And to me, this is like I am celebrating, because I'm seeing that even when, globally phases change around the virus, I'm seeing still an opportunity to bring together global teams to spend time online. It's a gift for us all. First piece of advice, which I was given, and I think it's critical, is no apology. We should not apologize in any way. We should not say, I'm so sorry because of the virus, I cannot visit with you, or I'm so sorry because of, no, this is not a second rate experience. This working online can be as powerful as working face-to-face, with the great advantage. In an hour's time, I'm meeting with a client who happens to be of Greek origin living in Amsterdam. I would never have met this client were I not working online. So I don't apologize for it. I believe it is a top-rate service. So that would be my first mindset, right? Get the mindset right. And then upskill to develop whatever tools help you to make it intimate. And I'm not talking about hardware or software. That's about production. The ability to bring one's energy into the space in an authentic and powerful way so that the other person feels your energy. They feel very attended to by you, despite that you might be in completely different countries across a big pond. So that takes work. I think it's creating a muscle, it's developing a muscle, and it's asking feedback. So I get a lot of feedback from my clients. When I work with partners, my clients are permanently filling out surveys. How's the online experience? How's the energy of your coach? And so we need to put in the time, do a lot of free things, meet with people like Bruce and get interviewed, talk at events, volunteer to facilitate events, all in the interest of sharpening our saw, and particularly sharpening the saw online. It saddens me to hear that many people have been bored or disappointed in the online space. It saddens me when I hear university teachers or professors saying that my class doesn't want to turn on their cameras. A disengaged audience, you know, you're a speaker, a disengaged audience is sad, and the responsibility of the speaker or the facilitator to get that attention. So words of wisdom, let us who have the capacity, who have the resources, let us be agents for change to demonstrate that online is a vibrant, exciting, global, earning space. Let us go forth and be the pioneers and demonstrate that for everyone else.